Rudy Giuliani appeared to admit how in the 1993 mayoral election in New York City, which he won, he used what he calls a trick to suppress the Hispanic vote. Except for the life of me, I can't actually understand what the hell he's talking about because undocumented immigrants can't vote. They can't register to vote. They're not citizens. So the backstory on this election is that Rudy Giuliani won the 1993 New York City mayoral election by about 50,000 votes, and he became the first Republican elected mayor of New York City at that point since John Lindsay in 1965. John Lindsay in 65 was a Republican. Then it was a bunch of Democrats in New York City as mayor. And then we got Rudy Giuliani in 1993. So we're going to take a look at a clip. Giuliani is on, I guess this is Steve Bannon's show, and he's sitting between Steve Bannon and Kari Lake. And he explains the trick that they used. Okay, take a listen to this.
It created a deterrent effect. The fact that we did it, and John and I were talking about that today, the fact that we were doing it, we made it very public that we were doing it. And then I'll tell you one little dirty trick that we played. One little dirty trick was
in New York. Dirty trick in New York. I'm so shocked.
Played by Republicans. By Republicans.
Republicans don't know dirty tricks.
How about this one?
Okay, give it
so
to me.
They went through East Harlem, which is all Hispanic, and they gave out little cards, and the card said, if you come to vote, make sure you have your green card because INS are picking up illegals.
Oh my gosh.
So they spread it all over the Hispanic.
Yeah.
After the election, the Clinton Civil Rights Division investigated me. I was on vacation after the election, and I get a call from my lawyer, Denny Young, and he says, Rudy, we got the Justice Department's investigating us. Janet Reno's coming after us. We violated civil rights. I said, Denny, you're a lawyer. Think about it. What civil rights do we violate? They don't have civil rights. But all we did is prevent people who can't vote from voting.
Yeah.
Maybe we tricked them, but tricking is not a crime. Oh, and in those days, we didn't have crazy prosecutors. Nowadays, they probably prosecute you for it, even though it isn't. And that's the way we kept down the Hispanic vote.
What a powerful story, huh? How Rudy miraculously, heroically, and bravely suppressed the Hispanic vote in 1993. Now, there's two stories. Is this a logical strategy, and did it actually happen? So the one issue with it as a strategy, of course, is undocumented immigrants can't vote. They can't register to vote. So I guess the idea here was, even if you're, so like, I actually don't understand whether this is the thing where they wrongly believe undocumented immigrants vote. Because remember, undocumented immigrants can't even get on the voter rolls because only citizens can vote. Do they wrongly believe undocumented immigrants are voting? Or is the idea that they wanted to trick legal immigrants into thinking if I don't bring documentation that I'm here legally, they might, just because of my appearance, think I'm here illegally. And if I don't have my papers on me, then all of a sudden I'll get in trouble and I won't be able to vote. So that sounds complicated. So I'll just stay home. Like it's actually hard to know exactly what the idea is, but it does seem as though this was a thing. I reviewed some documents. There is a document from the Department of Justice from contemporaneous to when this was going on, which says the Department of Justice and the FBI are conducting an investigation to determine who prepared and posted these notices. And this refers to, again, you go back to a 1993 Washington Post article. It says, Justice said to be probing New York vote suppression. Justice Department officials are investigating complaints of efforts to keep voting down in Democratic-leaning minority neighborhoods in the New York City mayoral election, according to sources involved. Black Mayor David Dinkins, Democrat, was defeated by Republican challenger Rudolph Giuliani in a contest that produced perhaps the most racially polarized voting pattern in the city's history. Among the complaints are the placing of signs on telephone poles and walls in Latino areas warning, quote, federal authorities and immigration officials will be at all election sites. Immigration officials will be at locations to arrest and deport undocumented illegal voters. This is the key line. It is unclear how the signs would intimidate naturalized U.S. citizens, the only immigrants eligible to vote. So the article accurately identifies you're going to intimidate people who can't vote anyway. Now, with 30 years of hindsight, we now understand where this went. 1993, Rudy did this in the New York City mayoral. 1994, this new wave of Gingrich Republicanism took over the House of Representatives, and it's been a path from that to where we are today. Republicans that blame society's problems on scapegoats, immigrants from Latin America being a very popular one. They've now shifted to, well, we'll blame it on trans people, Marxists who don't exist, or whatever else the case may be. But it's all that same idea, and you can find it back then. He's telling us that he did it. He's admitting to the entire thing, and it is wild and wacky stuff.